today
Yes.
is 133,
Yes.
344,
Yes.
760,
Yes.
and 939.
Yes.
And you want to give your elder a chance to start with 939.
Yes.
Okay, so where is your elder?
My elder is here. Ruben Putaki. Here, Putaki.
Aya, ngoja sasa utapisha hata wewe. Sawa sawa.
Mimi Ruben Putaki naapa ya kwamba maneno nitakayosema mbele ya tume ni ya kweli na kweli mtupu. Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for, I hope we can use English also.
In English and Swahili is allowed.
Okay.
You can even speak Sabaot as long as there is an interpreter.
Thank you very much.
Lakini sawa, whatever. Ile unapendelea.
And maybe mix, because I'm not very fluent in Swahili, but English, I think I can start with it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, the commissioners, and all the members of the community, and the patron of Kony Council of Elders, and also chairman of Sabaot Green Council of Elders. So I'm here to coordinate the number 939, and all the others have come under us. And we have organized so that we can all, if with your permission, we will give each of those other 344 and the other ones just something to say, but the main thing will be based on the 939. Now, this claim is about the Kony who were evicted here forcefully in 1921-22. But I'd like you to have a small, I would like to give you a brief, and then I can call upon those our people who provide the substantive matter after me, and I'm not taking very long. I would like just to say who the Kony are, and then move on. The Kony tribe is code number 545 according to the Kenya Population Census of 2019. It's an indigenous community to the Mount Elgon region, including its lowlands, specifically Bungoma and Trans Nzoia counties. The Kony has also been known erroneously as El Goni, El Goni, El Kony, Il Kony, and Elgon Masai. But this is one and the same person, and the name is Kony. The Kony belong to the umbrella of Sabaot communities made up of Kony, Bob, Ongomek, Somek, Mosopa Giek, and Sabine. The Kony also belong to the Kalenjin group, which includes the Nandi, Kipsigis, Tugen, Keyo, Marakwet, Lembus, Pokot, and Teni. And we all speak one language. That is the Kony. I want to go straight away to the reason why we are here. And we are here because of eviction of Kony by the colonialists as they came to colonize Kenya. So the land problems of the Kony started after the Berlin Conference of the European nations in 1884-85. During the meeting, the British took what became Kenya in the scramble for Africa. The white men came to Kenya and took the best agricultural land, including Trans Nzoia, and called it the White Highlands. In order to achieve their objective, they came, subdivided the land, planned removal of the indigenous Kony tribe. They auctioned our land through an order in the official gazette of East African Protectorate, Volume X1, number 328, dated 1st July 1913. And I would like to give you a copy of that document. That is only one of the way the Europeans came and got the land here is that they auctioned land in Nairobi to Europeans and then came and gave them whatever they had bought after they had come, subdivided, gave it numbers, and then they now an auction to whoever was willing among the Europeans. The Europeans, after coming here, first asked the Kony to voluntarily move out with the explanation that the Kony land is now a crown land. However, the Kony resisted between 1909 and 1914. But in 1914, they issued an ordinance which said Kony Kwenda. I don't have it here, but I believe we can make it available. There was an ordinance which was issued by the Europeans that time in 1914, Kony Kwenda. But in spite of that, the Kony resisted. Then in 1921-22, the British forcefully evicted the Kony and dispersed them to 3 areas. The first group were escorted out of Trans Nzoia to the North Kavirondo territory in what is now Western region. They were taken and dumped in Kamukuyo and told never to return to Trans Nzoia. I'd like to inform you, Mr. Chairman, one of the evictees, Mr. Ngeyo Arab Mayek, is my grandfather, so I'm quite conversant with what happened. Some of the Kony were banished to the moorlands of Chepkitale in Mount Elgon, and the last group of 200 families and 500 head of cattle was sent to the Sabaot County. 5,000 head of cattle was sent to the Sabaot County in Uganda after the Kenya government had negotiated with the Uganda government. Even then, a few Kony people remained in the caves and forested areas in the Trans Nzoia. This action of the colonialists resulted in loss of property, especially cows. And the eviction itself, the movement itself, resulted in sickness to our people who left their homeland, and they faced starvation, deprivation, and became destitute. It is now over 100 years, and the suffering is still on. Our people lost everything: family members, property, language, culture, and also our God, because everybody knows how to pray is God. We became subjects of other foreign people In their desperation, others accompanied the Maasai to Narok, and even others also went to West Pokot. This turmoil is still on up to today because our people are no longer having their home, which they know. We have tried a lot to claim this land, and the first commission which came was in 1932, Carter Land Commission. And they sat here in Kitale on 8th of October 1932. And I'm seeing that we are also close there because today is 17th of September 2024. We have also presented our issues to Kenya Regional Boundaries Commission, 1962, the Kiumi Commission, 1998, the Jojo Commission of 1999, the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission of 2002, and the others, which I cannot even list all of them here. But all these efforts have come to nothing. We therefore present ourselves to the National Land Commission today in high hopes that at long last we may have a caring and considerate entity that will consider our plight and give us rest. I will now invite a few of those people that I wanted to give us a little bit of more, some facts, because I've just made an overview of why we are here, and I would like them to add more flesh to what I've said. Lawrence, can you come, Lawrence? Somewhere. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mimi Lawrence Kiboi Kimutai naapa ya kwamba maneno ambayo nitakayosema mbele ya hii tume ni ya kweli. Mwenyezi Mungu unisaidie. So, Chairman, National Land Commission, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Kony community first to do an introduction. That my name is Lawrence Kiboi, a member of Kony community, and that the way we have designed our presentation today, that we will have a few of us making a presentation on behalf of 4 claims which are under your desk. So maybe to begin with, when we got this invitation, there were some instructions which we were given that we were to serve those people who were to respond to our claims. So, Mr. Chairman, if you'll allow me to present before you the letters of service to those institutions that we were to serve. So, Mr. Chairman, this one being a very important event, we saw it fit that after we make our presentation, none of the people that that were invited to listen to our claims and possibly being respondents to these claims. That they have got no reason to say that they have not invited. So we provided service to them, and let me present these documents as an evidence of service to those institutions. So you'll allow me also to give you how we are going to proceed to make this presentation in the best way we can, so that you are able to capture our issues very effectively. That we have split this presentation into two. Cognizant of the fact that these injustices started in 1895 as per the requirements of the claims up to 2010. And we've been able to categorize them into two. That we have injustices, historical land injustices that the community, the Kony community, got during colonial period. So our first presentation will focus on the injustices that happened to this community during colonial period. And then we will proceed to give you now historical injustices that occurred thereafter, after we got independence. Just to know that those injustices persisted, and we will give you details of what happened after independence. So we have put there a projector, and at some point we will be able to show you some of the evidence and the materials that we have to support our claims. So, and this presentation, I will be doing it together with my brother. I think he's seated at that corner, who will present this together. And we have other elders who, after we make our presentation, I think they will make comments on pertinent issues. Then to close up, we will have one of the persons who has been very key in making these claims, under which the first two claims we mentioned were presented before this commission, and we will give him time also to make that last presentation. So if you allow me, for interest of time, to go now straight into the issues. First, Mr. Chairman, I want to give you details now of first who we are in relation to the claims in question. Because we are seated here today and we are laying claims on land. Because when you claim that your property has been lost or an animal has been lost, you have to identify yourself in relation to that property. And what I'm about to do now is first to identify who are the Kony in relation to the land in question. And we will go into details to describe what is that claim or what is that land we're talking about. So, we want to introduce ourselves. The Kony. Who are the Kony? The Kony are the indigenous people of this place called Mount Elgon, and more specifically, Trans Nzoia, the area which we want to lay claim before you today. That today, where you're seated, Mr. Chairman, is the headquarters of the Kony people. And we will give you evidence to that effect. That our leadership as Kony, it started from here. That our leader, Chief Arab Kassis, who we are going to give the chronological events under which he was removed from his headquarters. That Mr. Chairman, when the colonialists came here and evicted, our chief justice was just living some 200 meters from here at the district hospital where his home was, and he was displaced from there. So we want to make further evidence for you to be able to know who we are in relation to this land. So there are historical events and there are documented evidence. First of who we are, then secondly, who are we in relation to this land? And I just want to highlight, because most of Africans were not able to read and write, so nothing was documented at that point in time. But I want to make a reference to one of the persons who traversed this mountain. His name was called Hobley, who has described us very effectively on who we are in relation to this land. So I want the person who seated in that computer to give us a map, because we want to describe ourselves through this guy who has documented our history, and it is on record of who we are. So you see that map there, Mr. Chairman. That map at the center there is Mount Elgon. On the lower side is probably Trans Nzoia is somewhere around there. You see that red line? That is the journey in 1897, Hobley traversing around Mount Elgon. You see how he moved? He went round, and this is the guy who was described who are the Kony. And we have so many materials we cannot display. I believe if we had enough time, we will go deeper into this history about this guy. So we will go to the next map, because that is just a rough idea of how he traversed around the mountain. There are also other areas he moved. He moved on the Kenyan side. Remember, this was around 1897? 1896, yes. So just give me the other map on the areas he moved around while he was on the Kenyan side. Okay, not that one. There's the other one with the map, I believe. No. Okay, thank you. There are other maps which he showed, which I think we will present before you, Mr. Chairman, on the areas this man moved while he was moving around Mount Elgon. We have other writers who have written a lot of information on Mount Elgon. And in summary, I want to show you that map. This is still his work. Just show me the area around Mount Elgon. Just make it smaller. One thing about this man called Hobley, Mr. Chairman, he was so much interested, he's an anthropologist, he was so much interested on the communities and the tribes living around the Elgon region, that in summary, by the end of his traversing Mount Elgon and other places, he came up with this map, and he identified what is called the Nandi-speaking groups. Actually, we are among the Nandi-speaking groups. So you can see the yellow part there is actually the Nandi-speaking groups, which spread down to the lower zones. So at the end of the day, I want you to take notice that the area we are claiming, we are the indigenous community here. And as we will be continuing to present this evidence, Mr. Chairman, because there are other historians claims in this place, a historian was invited to really try and tell the commission who we are. And that commissioner, who was a colonialist, for your information, Mr. Chair. Yes. And we will be giving you that evidence that he made a very accurate description of who we are. And what he said, that we have lived here thousands and thousands of years. And to let you know again, Mr. Chair, that if you go into the history books, East Africa is the cradle of mankind. So they believe that the first man was created in East Africa. Then the first coin to have been created was created in Mount Elo. And for your information, remember this was also the dispersion point of all the colonies. And that map actually gives you a glimpse of how the Mount Elgon was able to bore all other colonies. So in other words, when you hear, and it is a common word that is being used everywhere, that we are a Gapugo. So Kony is the Gapugo of all Kalenjins in the world. So, as we are sitting here to speak today, we are speaking as the grandfather to all Kalenjin nation in the world. So, if there is any injustice that happened to the Kalenjin nation, is for them, the colonialists, to come and steal the original and the cradle land of all the Kalenjins. So, allow me now, after that brief description that locates us effectively to the land in question, allow me now to give you more details of what happened, that the land that we are seated here today is not in the hands of the Kony, that it was dispossessed, and how this happened. And the cry we are making here today, that was made 92 years ago, we believe that this commission will take notice that probably this is the only time what was stolen from us. So, allow me now to submit, as I'll be ushering my brother to give part of these colonial historical injustices that occurred to the Kony community. And sorry, let me just start with this one. Yes. Now, we all know what happened when colonialists came to Kenya. That their main interest was land. And that Kenya, which later became a colony, initially around 1902, this area where you are seated today was under Uganda Protectorate. That Naivasha was the boundary. What then became East African colony That boundary was then moved around 1902, and it was moved from Naivasha to bisect Mount Elgon into two. We have a map to that effect. And I want to let you know, Mr. Chairman, that the motivation of the colonial administration and to provide for boundaries was the land. So any motivation of putting any boundary, it was for them to seize land. And Trans Nzoia became one of the targets. Remember, the first explorers who explored this mountain, including Hobley himself, remember, he was breathing the colonial administration. And at one time, one of the colonial administrators, when he was traversing this place, he made a report and said, this place which they had cited, Trans Nzoia, was fit for a white man's country. He came and he got amazed. He looked around and he looked and he saw the land that they thought it is fit for the British. So then the British colony now began bringing the land policies and what was popularly known as the Crown Land Ordinance of 1902 and 1904, that was to declare land that is, according to them, it is not being used, to declare it a crown land. So that ordinance is what the colonialists used while they were going around to seize land. And after establishing administrative units, and there's enough, the motivation then during colonial period, it was called Trans Nzoia District. So Trans Nzoia District, which I want you to mark it as an area of our claim. And currently, Trans Nzoia County is an area the colonialists mapped for seizure. And using the ordinance policy, that is how they managed to establish a boundary, call it Trans Nzoia District, and eventually it is what now became the White Highlands. So, after they had mapped this district, by the way, this county has been reviewed, this boundary has been reviewed twice. We have the older Trans Nzoia District boundary, and I'll tell you when that boundary was altered, around 1962. And now what remains is the new Trans Nzoia District then, but the area we are talking about is the old Trans Nzoia District before 1962. That is the area the colonialists seized from the Kony community who are seated here today. Now, there are events that followed. Okay, sir, I'll present that. Mr. Chairman, after the colonialists had come, they have seen, and they have come, they have mapped, they have put up an administrative district and call it Trans Nzoia, or in other words, a White Highland. They began now the process of seizing this land. And what followed is that they sent in surveyors to come and survey this land. And this land was surveyed. And the first auctions of farms in Trans Nzoia was done in 1912. 1912, yes, or thereabout. We have an evidence to provide in that effect. So, and now, that is now the beginning. Because, Mr. Chairman, wacha nitumie Kiswahili hapa. Mtu amekuja ameangalia, alafu anatafuta the most fertile part of your land, alafu anaweka mipaka in form of administrative units, then baadaye bila ruhusa yako, alafu sasa anaanza kuuza na kulease out. That is exactly what the colonialists did in this land that you're seated here, Mr. Chairman. And the first leases were advertised in Nairobi. We'll be showing you those clips. On farms, around 300 farms of over 3,000 acres each. And for your information, all those farms were given, and the people who leased all those farms are the colonialists. Now that mashamba imeenda, now the immediate challenge now is how do we remove these people from here? Kwa shamba lazima muondoe. Now, Mr. Chairman, and it is recorded everywhere in history that the first evictions of the Kony people occurred in 2014. 1914. Yes. That they had now to pave way for the colonialists. Now these guys started now finding way to evict the Kony people. And it was a very painful experience, Mr. Chairman. I believe there were those here whose grandfathers at that point in time were being evicted in the most brutal way. And by the time they were doing this, there was a requirement that sometimes kabla hujatoa mtu mwenye shamba, and that actually it was in their provision that you have actually even to create a reserve for them. That at that point, people are being evicted to nowhere. The place you had called home, now you are being told, move away, kwenda. By the way, and I challenge you, go and look for, you know, there is an IBC manual that is used by, not IBC, the census manual that is used for enumerators to highlight events that happens. That event, they termed it as Kony kwenda. It is recorded there as one of the evidence that the first evictions of the Kony occurred in 2014? 1914, I'm sorry, 1914. So, that was the beginning of our tribulations. Now, these people were changing policies and ordinances to favor them and to facilitate their seizure for land. Now, because they were really to find a way of managing I know there will be no time. Let me just go to the point straight. Maybe those things I know, the commission knows them very well. That new ordinances were introduced that were now to manage probably those Kony who are living within the settlement areas for the white settlers. And these were to introduce now issues of taxation, issues of permits. They introduced something called blue. So that for those ones who probably, for some reason, were not able to be evicted and they are within the territories of the colonialists, they had to comply with some rules. And that if you are to move, they will give you what is called one-way permit. That is also another way of evicting. Unaambiwa, sasa ukitaka kuhamisha ng'ombe kwenda hivi, wanakupatia permit ya kwenda one way. Ukienda hivi, no coming back. So, that was also some of the strategies the colonialists were using. And some Wazes who are here, we have those permits even with us. Some of our Wazes retain those permits, and we will be presenting before this commission as an evidence that this is one way that we are being told, go. And the railway here, by the way, Mr. Chairman, was actually meant to bring more colonialists. That by the time the railway arrived here, ended up bringing more settlers. And by around 1920-21, now those soldiers were being discharged from the World War II. World War I. These people now were moved, and there is an ordinance that gave the colonial government the permission now to settle the discharged soldiers. Farms that I know you will find time, Mr. Chairman, maybe to go around. You will get most of the original owners were the soldiers that were discharged from the World War I. Now, so that I invite my brother to give a small issue on that issue of the colonial period of what happened. That I'd want to mention that one of our leaders, because as a community we had our leader called the Chief Cassis, who really defended our community, and he was a steadfast leader. And he had had a lot of interaction with the colonial administration, and he tried as much as possible as he could to defend the issues of the Kony people who are seated here today. And yes, yeah, this is our chief. Yes, this is Chief Cassis. This man, we will tell you a lot of stories about this man. This was the leader of the Kony. And Mr. Chair, the person holding this photo before you is one of the grandson of this chief. And he's the same person. And one of the grandsons also is here today. And just stand up. These are the grandsons of this Mzee, our leader, Chief Cassis. On history books, is a person who really defended and tried to fight for this cause. This is the man who appeared a commission similar to this one in 1932, what was called the Carter Land Commission. So, I want to invite now one of the grandsons, because sometimes it is good when the story is told through the person whose grandson was involved, it will come out in a very nice way. So I want to invite one of his grandsons of this museum to tell us what happened. Pardon? Oh, sorry. Now, we have also an evidence of a map which we'll present before this commission. These were the surveys that were done by the colonialist to demarcate land in Trans Nzoia. So these are the farms that the colonialist demarcated and gave it to themselves. This one was 1931. Okay, we will present this before you, Mr. Chair. So I want to invite Kassis, grandson. Oh, you can have this copy. So, I think he will highlight more on what transpired in 1932. Because what happened there will give you a glimpse. Because we are making similar claims, but it's never changed. So let it come that it is now being done through the grandson of the Kassis, who stood before the Cattle Commission in 1932. Thank you. Welcome, my dear.
I, Charles Samoei Arap Kassis, do solemnly swear that what I will state before this commission is the truth and the only truth, so help me God. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank my chairman here for introducing us and introducing our community. I want to emphasize a lot of people have called us a lot of names, but we have an opportunity today to state that we are Kony. Today is a very interesting day. It is a remarkable day because National Land Commission is here. But 92 years ago, on 8th of October 1932, which is 92 years, the same community was here to do the same thing that we are doing today, claiming their land, which was taken away from them by the whites, by the colonial government. It is very interesting that the struggle for the Kony people to possess their land has taken us this long. It has been painful, and our people have gone through a lot of suffering. What I'm going to do here, Mr. Chairman, I'll be referring to some documents, and I want to give you those ones so that when I'm talking about them, maybe officials of the commission may be going through them as well. Those are, there's nothing new that I'm going to talk about. I'm going back to 1932, on 8th of October, when our elders were here, ventilating the same issue about the same land in Trans Nzoia. Mr. Chairman, I want to say, when there were a lot of issues pertaining to land, the indigenous people resisted to the extent that the colonial government came up with the commission called Kenya Land Commission, headed by Maurice Carter. The mandate of that commission was to look into the land question in the colony and propose a lasting solution to land problems in the colony. But, Mr. Chairman, that commission failed my community miserably. Because despite receiving the evidence and confirming that the Kony people had a very strong claim for this land, acknowledging that we had a very strong claim about this land, they went ahead removing our people. We became the first IDPs locally, and we became IDPs internationally. I'll prove to you, Mr. Chairman, on what I'm going to take you through, that's why here, into Uganda. Those people, Mr. Chairman, are still languishing as squatters in Uganda because there was no proper process that they were going to be accommodated, given land or anything. And the place they were taken to, Mr. Chairman, is a remote area which is sandwiched by the Karamojong in the north and the Suk or the Pokot in the east. A very hostile area. I'll also show you in my evidence that the Kony people were very rich people. They had a lot of livestock. But when they were ejected into that hostile place, they lost all that they had, that is livestock. The Karamojong like livestock. The Pokot like livestock. We were reduced to nothing, Mr. Chairman. Our people have not gone to school. They have no health facilities. They have no nothing. We have not, I'm talking to you, but I've never gone to university because of that problem. The continuation of the problem. Mr. Chairman, as I said before, that there is nothing new that I'm going to talk about. I'll take you through volume 2, which I've given you a copy of the evidence of the elders, the Kony elders, before the commission in 1932. I'm specifically taking you through the evidence given by Chief Arab Kassis in page 2080. Mr. Arab Kassis was before the commission on 8th of October 1932, and he stated the following. He duly affirmed and stated that my tribe is Kony. Up to today, Mr. Chairman, nobody has disputed that we are not Kony, and we are Kony. Mr. Chairman, Arab Kassis said, when I was a small boy, my tribe all lived across this country, as far as Moiben. We lived as far as Kabinguria and the Cherangani Hills. Our boundary was actually at the Boma at Kabinguria. We lived actually across the present Uganda border. Kitale is the center of my original country. He went further, narrating the troubles that they went through when they were living in this country. Because they had neighbors whom they used to raid each other. Most of the neighbors were also pastoralists. We had the Maasai in Uasin Gishu, and we had the Nandi. Despite the fact that we have some closeness with them, but they used to raid each other for cattle. We used to live here, Mr. Chairman. Where we are standing today was his Poma. He was the founder of Kitale. He was displaced by other champion, the first DC, in 1920. And he went and lived in Cholim, Mr. Chairman. Kidogo. Kono kijana. Oh. Kono kijana. Now, when he was forced out of Kitale to pave way for the DC, the first DC in Kitale, Bwana champion, he went and lived in this other home in Cholim. This is his kraal, where he used to live, plus his 4 wives, Mr. Chairman. This is Mr. Kassis plus his 4 wives. But unfortunately, they followed him up to there again, and they removed him from there, and they went up to a place called Kayos, and he lived there. Do you know who came to his place? It was Bwana Paus. I was there recently. there is a tree. There is a tree. In fact, his home now is converted into a hotel, which is run by Kenya Tourism Board. Bonobo stayed there until 1963 when Kenya became independent. And then he went away. Do you know who took over the land of Kassis there? The Kenya government, using its agent called ADC, up to now as we speak. Look at this kind of injustice in the German. ADC, whose mandate and responsibility was to transfer land to the indigenous people, decided to stay with the land up to now, with the pretext that they are developing land. They have no business developing land. The land belongs to the indigenous people, and they should refer back to the people as soon as possible. Mr. Chairman, I'll also go through recommendations later, where they acknowledge that we belong to Trans-Nzoia, but still they removed our people. And there was a recommendation that we should be given 40,000 acres. Mr. Chairman, even the recommendation that we are supposed to be given 80,000 acres, they did not even give us those ones. They still went ahead and evicted us. Mr. Chairman, when governments are changing hands, the incoming government takes the assets and the liabilities. Now, the new government which came into Kenya should have taken the liabilities that we are supposed to be given 80,000 acres. So those are the hanging fruits that you should give us immediately, Mr. Chairman. We don't need to negotiate for that one. Mr. Chairman, I want to go to the evidence of one of the white settlers who also came to present his evidence during that commission. His name is Kony Lack. That one is found in volume 2. That one is found in volume 2, page 2112. Go to the next page of Kony Lack's evidence. There is a place I had highlighted. I think it is the third paragraph. Page 2113, Mr. Chairman. Paragraph 3. Where this Musungu said this, Mr. Chairman. He said one reason why I was so anxious to appear before the commission was to mention the title of Arab Kassis tribe to remain on Elgon. Arab Kassis is of a royal blood. I know him well, and I can trace his pedigree back for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they have lived and owned Elgon for thousands and thousands of years. I know I am a settler, but I should regret to see the day when Arab Kassis was thrown out of there. But still, Mr. Chairman, they threw him out. Go to the next page, Mr. Chairman, which is 2114. The third paragraph again. The same Musungu said this: I own financial interests in this country, but I want to see justice done to those who own the land for such a long period. I do think that white settlement here has been the blessing of the natives. That's what he said. As long as we do not force them on too quickly. If we buy their cattle, what are they going to do with the money? Because they were trying to force the indigenous people to live by buying their cattle. Kony people, they give them money, that money in the pocket will be valueless. Mr. Chairman, I'll go to still on the same evidence by Cadillac, this time in page 2115. Paragraph 5, where it says, in any case, all the Arab cases and the others have very few children. Can you imagine they are demeaning us? And they are dying out. They thought we were going to die. We have not died, Mr. Chairman. We are still here. And we want our land. He also said, I think there is plenty of room for them to remain in Elgon. That was a suggestion that there's still plenty of room for us to remain in the Elgon. In the forest glades, they have known for hundreds and thousands of years. What this Musungu was saying, in essence, is that the land belongs to us. So, Mr. Chairman, when you retreat back to do your analysis, give us our land. I will now go to the evidence of another Musungu. I think this one was an administrator. That is found in page 2116. His name is J.B. Llewellyn. He was the DC of Transoya. In paragraph 3 of his evidence on 10th of October 1932, he said, what I have been rather worried, he was worried because of us, Mr. Chairman, because of our presence, because he wanted the land and we were there. And then he says, he indicates that what I was worried about is all these tribes who are squatters here, and particularly the Elgonyi. Mr. Chairman, it is confirmation enough that we are here, and this was our land. And it was a struggle between us and the Wasungus. Can you imagine, Mr. Chairman, these are issues. This was a case like this one today, 92 years ago. Mr. Chairman, for how long are we going to wait for this? Mr. Chairman, we will go down in history. Give us our land. In the next page, by the same DC, in the three last paragraphs, he said, I would like to say this, that during the last 1.5 years, I've managed to get some 200 families of these Elgonyi people with about 5,000 head of cattle into Uganda. He forced us into Uganda, used the DC. There are 2,500 heads of cattle here on the ground land waiting to go. They were just pushing us with our cattle, Mr. Chairman. And the last paragraph there, Mr. Llewellyn said, yes, I do. This movement I'm speaking of is confined to the Elgonyi Torogo, Masai. It appears to me that the Elgonyi lived between the Wasinigishu, who are south Nugochini, of the Nzoia, and the Sebei tribes of the north. Those ones are there. So we were sandwiched between the Maasai in the Nzoia and the Sebei, which is Transoya, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, because of time, let me go to the report and recommendations made by that commission, Kenya of 1933-34. And then in the middle paragraph, they say the Elgonyi desire a country of the 84. We have evidence that about half the Elgonyi are living in the Kitosh location in the North Kavirondo district under Chief Murunga, but with a sub-headman called Raptended of their own. They wanted to push us now to Murunga's place because the last paragraph in that page, that is 1086, with the possible exception of the alienated farms, in the Kitale district, it does not the land to which they are in equity and justice entitled, but they have no country which they can call their own unless the Sabaot country comes within the category. The Sabaot are people living in Uganda. So then they are thinking of just exporting us into Uganda. Mr. Chairman, I want to go to 1087. Our recommendations are as follows. If you are there, let me read what they say. That the policy of the administration of moving the Elgonyi from the alienated farms should be continued unless they become squatters under the usual arranged agreement that the question of compensation be considered. Now they are forcing us to be squatters or to be compensated. Can you imagine this injustice, Mr. Chairman? We recommend that such of them have, no, let me go to recommendation number 2. That the Uganda government be approached on the question of accommodating more of the Elgonyi, meaning that some have been taken there, of accommodating more of the Elgonyi in its territory. And if they can be accepted, that those who are moved off the farms be given the option of going there or into the North Kavirondo district. North Kavirondo ni Kwawanga huko Western Kenya. Or if there is room for them on the moorland of Mount Elgon. Can you imagine they wanted to take us to the moorland, the coldest place on earth? Mr. Chairman, look at this injustice. 3, that the moorland area, some 40,000 acres in Kenya above the forest belt of Mount Elgon, be reserved for the use and occupation of the Elgonyi people. They wanted to take us to the moorland and they reserved 40,000 acres. Mr. Chairman, instead of us waiting for going to the moorland is a government forest. People cannot be given there. Just give us our ADC farms just across here. We consider the Elgonyi have a strong claim to this area on historical ground. They are saying we have a strong claim also in the forest there. We have never lived there. If you see the evidence of accuracy, he said, that place is cold, we cannot go there. Hata sisi tulikuwa nafaa shuga. Ungeenda kuishi huko kwa baridi hiyo, si tungekufa yote. That's why they were saying they are a dying race. It is still removing the Elgon with the compensation. That is 462, 1844. We have been moved from Trans Nzoia farm area. We moved from the farm area. That's where we used to live. Compensation being paid to any of them who have been residents for more than 3 years. After the compensation has been paid and the move has taken place, any private rights which they may have could equitably be extinguished. They wanted to remove our rights. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mutupatie tu chameli baba. Asante.
Mr. Chairman, I think Mr. Samoei has eliminated a lot of lamentations that we have gone through. I'd like just to invite Gregory Ngeiwa to give us a little bit more information about our plight in this county.
Thank you, Chairman, and his commission. I'm not going to repeat what the others have said, but I will clip the points systematically from those years backwards. So, Mr. Chairman, in our presentations that we served you, There is a place for sources of information, for references, and most of those books, or all of those books, could be contained here. Wanachema, our problem started in 1895 as the cutoff point. We thank the National Commission, and we thank also the National Land Policy, because it can put the cutoff. It doesn't go backwards. So we are talking about from 1895 up to today, not 2020, but maybe your mandate is up to 2020. The biggest problem of land with no compensation. We were evicted, dispersed with no compensation. We were not allotted a reserve like the others. When Osungus came, Kenya was not empty. Trans Nzoia was not empty. Not all ethnic groups were removed in their lands. We have specific people who were removed. There is that corridor of settlement from Machakos, Mount Kenya, Laikipia, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, up to here, up to the tip of Mwandelwa. Those are the people who suffered. The other groups were told, go and squeeze in that reserve this side, or this side, squeeze here. But the Kony, we were removed almost en masse, and we lost our land. We were pastoralists owning lots of animals. The biggest problem is that when they removed the boundary from Naivasha up to here is when we had a problem. Our eviction and dispersal is in two categories: pre-colonialism and during colonialism. So there are two. Before colonialism, Kenya was referred to as East. Okay, so give the gem. Kenya was up to Naivasha. Then to Lokuto. When I get into two, walikuwa na kitu mbaya sana. Sijui walikuwa na kitu gani. So that some of us ilikuja nakata model kwa mimi. Alafu hapa ilikuwa ni Naivasha province. Naivasha province. And you can see roughly a thin line hapo kwa inaweka model kwa. Hiyo ilikuwa kugawanya. Gawanya sisi minority people, then you make it again more smaller and smaller and few. Was manned or administered temporarily from a district which was created in Western for the first time called Elgon District. Elgon District is our name. And that district was the whole of Western Province up to Lake Victoria. It was called from 1902 to 1910, Elgon District. And Trans Nzoia was being administered temporarily from that side. You can have this map showing that administration temporarily. You can see the map of Nyanza. It doesn't touch Uganda. Ilikuwa temporary. Sisi turudishe watu hapa ama hapana. Wakati wa pili. Na kumalizia. Now, others have said the laws which moved us from here. By 1905, Wazungu wakaua the leader of Nandi, Kotelera somewhere. Then the Nandi people wakatawanyika. Hata wengine wakaja wakawa. Hata wadiela wajua kama wameua ule na ni wako yake maana na sisi hapa itakuwa namna gani? By 1908 kulikuwa na kufanya sana magana title. Ukishapata karatasi ya title, hiyo shamba ni yako. Na sisi hapa ilikuwa community land, trust land yetu. We are not happy. So kazi hiyo. Now, by 1912, ndio sasa sisi ya Wazungu kuja hapa kusaka kutoa sisi hapa. 1912. Earlier on, there was no Msungu settlement huko nyuma. So 1912 na kutoa sisi hapa. Alafu wazee wetu walikuwa wanalipa. This is a sample. Walikuwa wanalipa kodi. And we were the only one. Yeah. And we were the only one here. Wasungu are very good. They were, wherever they went, wanaandika ni nani nilipata hapa, nani nilipata hapa. They were very good. Tena walikuwa na support. Hii maneno ya census, they are known from the beginning. That took time, Roman time. Out of the Bible. Now, I want to show you how we went down systematically in population as they are chasing us. In 1912, there was some wakasapua sisi hapa, wakapata we are 23,000. And we were the only ones. Evidence is from a book of our best researcher, and I think it's here, Dr. So, in his book, The Sabaot and the Struggle for Land Justice, I may enumerate how many are we have achieved. How many were we? 23,000. Now, since Francois being minister from Nyanza province, and Wasungu ya pande ya Nyanza plus the PC in 1912 akatuma. Second district has been changed now to Mumias district from 1910 to 1914. So akatuma Colonel Watkins. Hebu enda hapo Trans Nzoia, iko shamba mzuri huko. Tafikia watu ya Kony. Pale na sasa hapo kidogo. Walikuwa wamesema sisi tutapewa kwa mlima kutoka Kamkuyo River up to Swamp River, kwa hiyo mlima juu hivi. Now, wewe na mnaendelea mambo kuingia Trans Nzoia kwa nini? 1919. 1920. So before that, 1916. Into this side from being at this side, it came back here, and it was under Washington from 1916. That Trans Nzoia was part of Washington. It's called Trans Nzoia because land moved from this area and then across. So trans means across. In Israel, the West Bank. West Bank was part of Jordan, and Jordan used to be called Transjordan before. So the same thing with Trans Nzoia. Trans Nzoia means it goes beyond, and it is our chief Arab places who actually was ruling this side up to those times. Now, I have a map here which shows that Trans Nzoia was part of Washington, and it used to be called Washington Plateau North Constituency. And it was going beyond the Nzoia River. And then the other Washington remaining was called Washington Plateau South Constituency. The one put in Daga is Trans Nzoia, across the Nzoia River. And the lighter one is the Washington. So in 1920, Trans Nzoia came into view. They split now Washington into two. Washington, the current one, and then Trans Nzoia in 1920. And the first chief is what you have heard. Their grandchildren are here. Is Cassis. Cassis was the first chief who used land. That time, the whole of the county, the district was just Niaki, one location. In 1920, the first took a census of the natives, the Kony, na akapata Kony. Wakapata Kony, he is now 7,700. And themselves, they are only 182. So, you can see, as the coin is dropping, the Wasungus are going up, plus their workers. So, for that population, again, from Dr. Godfrey Kipsise, in his book, he did a research and got the numbers of people have stayed in 1920. So it is there, the population. So they kept on chasing us. The most brutal time was also 1921 and 1922. This is where now they removed the majority of us, of our people, on the mountain, the Transvaal mountain, which is western, Naiko ya Transvaal, which is Rift Valley now, or the former Rift Valley. So, Transvaal is not in western. I had you yesterday saying, it is not the total. You go part about it. Mount Elba National Park is in Transvaal, yet it is in Mount Elba. By 1924, our people had now known that we are going. Now that have moved the people from the plains of the Plateau Koile, Papa, wametoa wakaenda wakatoa ilikuwa mpaka kwa mlima wakatoa. So by 1924 our people had protest songs wakaimba. So kuna wimbo unaitwa Papa Kony Song of Dispersal. But Chairman, if they start singing in this house, you will see people shaking tears. So I don't want people to shed tears. Because so, maneno ya reserve zilikuwa zimetengenezwa Kenya, kuna reserve, hakuna sisi reserve. Wakaambia wazee bali weka kitodo ya blue. Ile ndio kama alikuwa na ng'ombe 200,000 1,000 toka. So, our population kept on going down. In 1929, because of complaints of natives, wakatengeneza the Kenya Land Commission. Hiyo kuona maneno ya mashamba, tuone kama inawezekana turudishie wengine, fanya nini. Na hiyo commission ilikaa mpaka 1934. Ilikuwa not a short one. So, our people again were removed as you have heard. The DC here, it was now Zoya province. Akatoa people. Akasema, during the commission, for about 1.5 years, nimetoa some 200 families waende here, Uganda, Sabaot in Uganda, plus 5,000 of cattle. They counted our people and the population. So, the December population in 1912, 23,000. But and then 150,000 sheep and goats. So 1931, our population was in Transvaal 2,800. So 2,600, 900. Sorry. What am I confusing? 2,600. Sorry, 2,600. And in the Moaland, we don't say that there was nobody in the Moaland. We had our people in the Moaland. They were killed. They are there. They were killed on the Moaland. Only that they were chasing others from here to join them. And the Okie were 900 for Transvaal side. And the coin on the lower side were 1,700 to make 2,600. In the North Kavirondo, those people who live in Kaptama, Kapsukoi, they were the same number, 2,600. Total 5,200 in 1932, our population dropped to 2014. 1932. In that year, the rest of numbers had gone down to 7,570 and 1,824 sheep in the Moana. And then they continued chasing our people from 31, 32. Alafu wengi ndio wakaenda kusantia Kapenguria, where I was born in 75 years ago. I'm now 75 and 3 days. By 1994, Super Kasabua, we became 1,900. So it kept on. They were saying that because wamefukuza waenda wapotele kabla zingine. Kwa simulated. Ndio sasa wanasema die grace. We did not die. Walifukuza sisi tu. We did not die. Then in 1943, there is a map of East Africa which shows our code number of the corn people. That time, we are coded 335, code number of the census or whatever, in Kenya. We are also 1948. Ilikuwa mwisho kufukuza sisi hapa. When you walienda Kapenguria, they were forced by the people there that if you have to live there, you have to take their culture. Wakafanya kitu cha Sabana, kuwakatiwa, kuweka udongo kichwa na kutawanyiwa. And West Pokot now, yeah, so they didn't care whether you had been circumcised or not. Unapelekwa tena kufanya hiyo kitu Sabana yao, kukubaliwa huko. Wengi wao walikataa wakarudi. Sasa tukuje tukufie Tanzania. Wengine wakaenda Masai. Wengine wakaenda mpaka Tanzania. So huko Kapenguria, I put land. After the one, they were supposed to go down inside the deep in Pokot. Huko so Alale, siji wapi, but they remained in Kapenguria side division or so along Trans-Nzoia. And some of us were born in that area. And we actually suffered very much in that area. What are we saying? I was saying about kufika 1952 wakatengeneza kusikiza maneno kwa dieto kapelena au they didn't implement or follow it. By 1962 is where the problem now iliingia sasa. Part of Trans-Nzoia, the original district, ilikuwa kubwa, ilikuwa nafuka Nzoia mpaka ng'ambo ile, na part of the one ng'ambo hii ikachorwa, ila ng'ambo wakapewa Kakamega county now. Ya ng'ambo hii ya Tongoreni wakapewa Bungoma county, and there was made settlement schemes which we never benefited, and we have to lost. So we had already lost part of the land in Nairobi. Then we now got independence or towards independence. Wasungus were very good. They were trying to take care of the natives who were removed from their lands. Then one of us here wrote a letter. Where did you leave our land? The corn land in Trans-Nzoia. Where is it? And It was replied and it is here. Israeli lawyer is here. British government, he wrote to the British government asking for the land which we had lost. That where is our land? Yeah. And it was akajibu. Na akajibu. Akajibu. And Lord Mgega is here. Let him stand. Wakajibu, we left $100 million to settle the claims. Ask your government. So, we are now asking to hold the claim. And I have a special map here showing Rift Valley province of that time and its districts, of which other provinces have the same map. And this map shows what is the name of the district, which tribe, whose tribe is living in that district. This one is West Suk district, that's the name of the district. The tribe now. Number 2, Transoya district. Which tribe? Europeans and Kony. It continues. Marakwet. Whose tribe? Marakwet. Elgeyo. Which tribe? Elgeyo. Nandi. Which tribe? Nandi. Wasinigishi. Which tribe? Europeans and Nandi. Baringo, which tribe? Tugen and James. So, likewise, there was another one, Turkana was not in Rift Valley. There must be Turkana district for Turkanas, Kisi district for Kisis, Taita Taveta district for Taitas and Taveta. So it's given. You cannot change. You cannot change. They have it. We serve all of you. You have all those things. You have them. So, according to the Bible, your inheritance must be fixed. It cannot change. It cannot change. So, Scotland is for Scottish. It cannot change. So, Transoya is for the Kony. It cannot change. After independence, sir, Chairman, after independence, injustice is in the court. After independence, there was this land transfer. Oh, there are others now. I will leave. There are other areas like land transfer after independence. School land transfer in Bayambofu. Alafu kuna also forest evictions. Na kuna also the incomplete land acquisition like Italana settlement scheme and others. So, hii manena land transfer which is mbaya kabisa. Iko skill settlement scheme. Tuona hakuna sisi, hakuna sababu, hakuna mamiko nje. Kowe.
You have spoken.
What? Let me just clarify.
You have spoken.
Let me clarify, Mr. Chair. Because we have.
First of all, you have spoken, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And after you spoke, you gave it somebody else.
Yes.
Somebody, yes.
So, why do you want to come back?
We
granted him that position.
We were moving chronologically. Of course, initially we had said we have.
So let's
Memorandum.
to save time.
Yes.
You have given us a little evidence.
And
You have given us a lot of evidence. and you have covered, Chairman, or you,
Secretary of course.
exactly